Hey guys, it's Stacy with Chapter 6, and today I'm coming at you with a series review. This series review is going to be over the Halo Trilogy by Alexandra Adorno-Teddow. The first book in the series is Halo, the second book in the series is Hades, and the third and final book in the trilogy is Heaven. So let me say before I start into this review, because eventually if you have not read the whole series, you're eventually going to have to drop off before I get to the very end of the video. My thoughts on the entire series was it is not worth it. It's not worth the time, and it's not worth the money, and it's a very disappointing series. It could have been so much. It could have been so much more, but overall, not worth the time and the money, but very beautiful covers. Because this is a series review, I'm going to go ahead and play to read or not to read at the very beginning of the video. So if you are going to stop, drop off, you still get to play to read or not to read. If you have not seen to read or not to read before, I ask you a series of yes or no questions. And at the end, you tally up how many yeses you have and how many no's you have. If you have more yeses, then yes, this will be a series for you. If you have more no's, then no, you should maybe skip over this series. Question 1. Do you like angel books? I think that's a pretty obvious question. Question 2. Do you like the typical YA romance? Some people do, some people don't. Question 3. Are you in a reading slump? I think if you're in a reading slump, really does tremendously affect if you're going to like a book or not. Question 4. Do you like cheesy books? Some people like the cheese. The cheesier the better. Some people are in the mood for cheesy books sometimes. Question 5. Do you like dependent female characters? Not independent, dependent. Question 6. Are side characters something that are important to you in a story? Question 7. Do you like mediocre series? No, I do not. They're too expensive and they're too time consuming just to be mediocre. I got 5 no's and 2 yeses, so no, I should not have read this series because, ugh. Yeah, I'm curious what you guys got. Please leave it in the down bar. Anyways, on to the review. I hope you guys like the read or not to read. I really like coming up with the questions for it. It's really fun. This series is about 3 angels who come to Earth, which are Gabriel, Ivory, and Bethany. And their job is to inspire goodness in people by doing acts of goodness themselves. Now, there are hubs of these angels all over the world, and their acts of kindness keeps evil at bay. Gabriel is the warrior, Ivory is the healer, and Bethany is the one who's most human-like because she's the youngest of the 3 angels. Bethany's job is to go to school and install goodness in teenage kids. At school, she meets a human named Xavier Woods, and her and him fall in love. My thoughts on this first one is that I thought it was a okay setup to a series. I judge the first book in a series very lightly because there's a lot of setup going on, and I like to give the series the benefit of the doubt before I start really harshly judging it. In this one, there was some writing issues, like her writing was very weak, but I knew that going in because so many people had said that, and I think she was like 17 at the time that she wrote this. After I read this first one, the thing that intrigued me the most was there was an actual biblical angel involved in this story. This was my 4th angel series at the time. They just fascinate me, and this was the first appearance of an actual biblical angel, and I was really happy about that. I loved Gabriel's character, and I wanted more of him, and I was excited to see if more biblical angels would start popping out throughout the series. So I was loving that aspect of it. Xavier and Beth did get on my nerves. It was a typical YA romance that was going on, but there was other things in the series that I was really looking forward to getting the next book in the series. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the book 2 in the series. Do not watch this part of the review if you have not read Halo, because you will be spoiled on Halo if you watch this part of the review. So we start off in Hades. Beth and Xavier's relationship is going very good. Their love is strong. They're in love, blah, 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 blah. One night, Beth and Xavier go to a Halloween party, and she ends up on a motorcycle with Jake Thorne. If you remember, he is a demon, and he then takes her to hell to be his queen. That's all I'm going to say about it, because I don't want to spoil people. I'm just banging around everywhere. My thoughts on this one is that I really, really enjoyed this installment in the series the entire time. I was like, yes, this is what I really want with an angel series. We were in hell. It was fun. You won't hear me say that very often. There was stuff going on, and I think the part that I enjoyed the most is Xavier and Beth were not in the same room the majority of the book, which made me like her character a lot more. I enjoyed the whole time she was down there. I just thought it really tested her character and really made her not as dependent on Xavier, which was nice. But I hated this ending. I completely hated this ending. The ending, I think it's like one of those after chapters, those epilogues. Yeah, that's what they're called. Ruined the entire book. Like, the series was clear on a clear path to greatness. And that last chapter, she just veered right back on to the typical YA train. After reading this one, I just did not want to pick up the third one. I'm like, ugh, this is where the series is going. I don't want to go with it, but I wanted to finish through the series. I don't think I did a separate review for this because I wanted to group them together, but I was highly disappointed with it. I think I gave it like 2 stars on Goodreads. It was just, ugh, it made me so mad. Like, I was so happy the entire time I was reading this, and then that ending just, I wanted to throw the book out the window. Third and final book in the series, which is Heaven. Do not watch this part of the review if you have not read, not Halo, Hades, because if you do, then you will be spoiled. Again, don't watch this part of the review because you will be extremely spoiled if you hear this, if you have not read book 1 and 2. Starting off in Heaven, ugh. Xavier and Beth got married, which then incurs the wrath of heaven. They send their warrior angels after them, which are called the Seven. Beth and Xavier and Gabriel and Ivy are all on the run. The synopsis goes even deeper than that into what I just gave you, but I feel like the synopsis spoils you somewhat. So I think it goes too far. It even goes towards the very end of the book. It gives you parts that happen, which I think is very stupid to do in a synopsis. I don't know why they did that. It kind of angered me a little bit, but since I didn't really care about the series at this point anyways, I'm just like, nah, one more thing to complain about. I had very low expectations in going into this book, and I actually read this one recently, so that hardly ever happens in a review. But I do have to say I was pleasantly surprised by it. The Seven were really creepy. I gotta give her that. She made some really good warrior angels. Honestly, I had rock bottom expectations, so the plot twists, the very few little ones that did happen throughout the book, I actually enjoyed. It was just like, nah, this is okay. I am judging it very harshly because it is the last book in the series, and I'm very picky when it comes towards the end of the series. And I was just done. I was so done with it by then because Beth and Xavier, those two characters, infuriate me. They are really, just really self-centered characters. And the one thing that this series does have going for it is amazing side characters. Like, can we just cut Bethany and Xavier out of this series altogether and focus on the other characters? Because I really liked all the side characters. There was other characters that came into play that I was really liking, and I just rather read about them. I do not want to hear any more about how these two characters fit together like puzzle pieces. That is the direct quote from the book that is mentioned throughout the entire series. And I think it's mentioned at least 10 times in this one. Every time Bethany touches Xavier or Xavier touches Bethany, she thinks, we fit together like puzzle pieces. And I couldn't take it anymore. Like, seriously, come up with a different expression. Don't use the same one 15 times in a row. It's very annoying. And the topper of this entire series that really upset me is that we only get closure with Bethany and Xavier at the end. I don't think that's a spoiler because I'm not going to tell you much more about that, but all these characters that we have come to like more than the main characters personally, and I don't even get to know what happens to them because Bethany is so focused on Xavier that nobody else matters. So, highly disappointed with the series. Did not like it. I feel like it was a waste of time and money. I am going to keep them because I do think they're beautiful, and at least I want to get some enjoyment out of them, even if it's just looking how beautiful they are. The only good thing that comes from this series is that I finished my first series of the year. I'm sorry that I was a little in this review. It's just this series really made me mad. Madder than any other series that I have not liked, because it could have been the best Angel series to date. I could have blew Hush Hush and fallen out of the water by far, but it didn't. It just ranked right back down there with them. This was Stacy with Chapter Chicks, and I hope you guys enjoyed my review. Bye, guys.